What's up, y'all? We're from around here. Today we're going to talk about a dope new release, again from Diggers with Gratitude. I say again because I just did a blog post on one of their new releases yesterday, but as far as I'm concerned at least, I got them both on the same day, so I did one, go right into the other one. This one's actually slightly newer though. Tragedy, Black Rage Demos. Okay, so here's the story behind these. In 1992, Tragedy recorded his second album for A&M Records, and it was pretty controversial. This was around the time, you know, of Ice-T Cop Killa with Body Count and all that, so, you know, the label freaked out, changed a lot of stuff, they remixed some tracks, they pulled some of the more controversial songs, and eventually in 1993/94, they released Intelligent Hoodlum, Tragedy Saga of a Hoodlum album. So this is largely the same album, but a lot of tracks were remixed, a couple tracks were removed, I think a few were added. I think they stuck Posse on here. I don't think that was going to be on the album originally. So unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be known exactly what happened to those lost tracks that A&M Records pulled off of the original album, which was going to be called Black Rage. They seem to be lost. I don't know, somebody's probably got them in their vaults. But anyway, recently, a couple tracks have been discovered. So those three tracks have been pressed up to this EP, the Black Rage Demos EP. So these are 3 songs, all 3 of which were on the Saga of a Hoodlum album, but not in the original forms. The beats are completely different. And as an extra bonus, they added the original versions on the flip side. These are the versions that were actually on the album, but this is still good because, except for, you know, I think there's a shady bootlegger floating around or something, but basically, Saga of a Hoodlum never came out on wax. It was only CD and cassette. So this is the first time these tracks are coming out on wax, except for one of them, At Large, because At Large was included on one of the 12-inch singles. So that one's been on wax before, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But otherwise, so 3 of these tracks are completely brand new, unreleased, and the other ones are at least new to vinyl. So it starts out with what I believe is the strongest track, the original version of Death Row. And again, just to reiterate, Death Row was indeed on the album that you've heard, but this is a completely new version, and it's hot. It's got the kind of the funk lick guitars from Eazy-E, Nobody Move, that dun 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 dun, and the horn stabs from JVC Force's Strong Island, that So it's a really great mix. It's got a hard, deep bass line. It's just a lot more street than you know, the album version plays it safer. Well, obviously they played it safer. That's the whole point of the remake of the album. And you know, they took off some more controversial songs, etc. And they also made the beats a little more radio friendly in general. So these are some more strictly hardcore, tough beats, and this is definitely the best one. I'm gonna play a clip of. Actually, I'm gonna play a clip of both. So we'll start out with the original version, which is to say the 1992, brand new to this release, and then we'll play the subsequent remix, which is actually the one you're probably familiar with that was on the album, so you can compare them. Okay, so next we come up to the track At Large, which is interesting because it's the best, one of the best songs on the album already. It's got these great horn samples and all that, but this is a pretty killer mix. This is, again, completely different. It's got a really nice UFO sample, EFG. It's a different sound. It's a lot more, again, it's a little bit more hardcore, although in this case both were pretty hardcore. Certainly a hardcore track lyrically. So I don't know which version actually I prefer, because both are really tight, but it's great to have this new, unreleased original version on wax. And again, I'm going to play them both clips. I'm going to play the demo version first, and then the album version. And the album version is a nice treat too. Again, I was saying At Large is the only one that had originally been released on 12-inch already, so it was already on vinyl. But what's cool about this is this version of At Large from the album features an introduction skit thing that was not on the album. The album just kind of jumps right into the song. You hear a little bit of the woman's voice going, "At large." That's actually from a little bit of a skit, where this lady saying, you know, Tragedy's broken out of jail and he's believed to be at large. and that was never included on the album, and it's actually on both versions here. So you finally get the full, complete version. I mean, it's just a skit, so it's not that great, but it's still pretty cool, at least for, completism, to have the full, complete version of At Large, the album version, and of course the demo version. Actually, just to jump in and correct myself real quick, that skit doesn't wind up appearing on the album. It appears somewhere, probably one of the songs on side 2. As you can hear, that line, especially Extremely Dangerous, is looped throughout the hook of At Large, and that's clearly where it was originally meant to be. It was supposed to blend right into At Large. For some reason, I guess A&M decided to just randomly stick it in front of a song on side 2. But this EP restores it to where it's supposed to be, with the original blending into At Large. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it is here, preserved. But yes, you did actually technically hear that skit before on side 2 somewhere.
This just in. A convict from Elmira State Penitentiary has just escaped. Tragedy, the intelligent movement is believed to be still at large and extremely dangerous.
Finally, we come up to Pump the Funk. Pump the Funk, actually, to me, honestly, no matter which version we're talking about, the demo version or the album version, is easily the weakest track. It's okay, it's cool. I guess this demo version is a little bit better. It's definitely a lot more stripped down. It's a little bit more raw. And again, I'm going to play clips of both. But either way, it's the weakest track on the album, as far, or at least the weakest track on the EP, as far as I'm concerned. But it's okay, it's cool. And it's cool to have this new original version finally on wax. So I'm going to play clips of those. Again, original first, album version second.
And that's just the way it'll be. So check what happened to me when I was rolling down 21st Street on the bridge. Captain's got chicken finger licking with the Funkatized for all the homies out there laying back in the ride. Very, very acidosis. For 92 and 93 and 94. This is for your system, booming out of your trunk. Turn up the bass and pump the funk. But turn it down if you don't want to hassle. Cause if not, the cops are gonna harass you. And that's just the way it'll be. So check what happened to me. Well, I was rolling down 21st Street on the bridge. Captain Spot chicken finger licking with the wrist.
So, like most Diggers with Gratitude releases, it is limited. This was limited to 250 copies, the first 75 of which were pressed on this kind of very cool dark red marble vinyl. I hope that shows up, the color. The other 175 of which, of course, on your standard black. It comes in a dope sticker cover, and if you got one of the original 75, the red ones, those sleeves were also hand-signed by Tragedy himself. There you go. And like all Diggers with Gratitude releases, it comes with a nice press sheet. So yeah, not much more you can say about this. Great, sick, Tragedy, original versions, final release on wax. We can only hope that this is going to be a catalyst for the other versions and the other songs that were taken off of Black Rage to somehow be released from A&M's vault, or hopefully somebody still has them, and hopefully somebody cares enough to release them, because that would be hot. But already, these 3 tracks are a really great start. So until next time, Werner Van Wallenrod, peace out.